Good afternoon, 3 p.m. It is our Saturday time. Today, this topic was requested by one of our followers on YouTube, and they would like us to talk about succession plan. Succession plan in this context is about small business owners. When you want to think of your future a little longer than your own life, you think of succession plan. Of course, nobody has the crystal ball to know when the life ends or when the life becomes inconvenient. So to plan for that moment comes, to create the continuity for your business to go on forward, that is something a lot of business owners like to know. There's no magic formulas here to say that, oh yes, 1, 2, 3, 4, you do that. But there is some best practices here. So we want to talk about how succession plan is all about. We have a client and who operates a bakery shop, and we can look at their cases, and this is started from the mother worried about the business is not continuing, even though the daughter is in the business, but the mother still worried. So we came up a plan of what to do. Then 3 years later, actually a car accident, and it took mom out of really running the business. She was seriously injured. Of course, cannot work in the bakery anymore. But the succession plan really came into place. At that time, we say that yes, a good go, because there's no surprise. Customers still coming. Things are running just as if the mom is still there. Now let's look at what we have, and you have our YouTube channel in front of you right now, and our YouTube channel is where we deposit all of our webinars. Like today, we're talking about whether a succession plan really beneficial. We're talking about this topic, right? You can see on the YouTube channel there is a live session going on, and then on the bottom, those are videos that we deposited in there. Is more than 1,100 videos we accumulated for the last 4 or 5 years. We have been on YouTube channel every week, 3-4 times, ladies and gentlemen. So we give you the knowledge, we give you the answers, the client asking, we give you the knowledge that you really should know as a business owner. And other than our YouTube channel, you also can get onto our website, which is the communitycpa.com website. On here, you can onboard with that. You can become our client midnight, 2 a.m. And whenever you're ready, you can come over here, setting up your account, and then start uploading your information and tell us your story. Then we'll be coming back to you and getting you onboarded. And you can also make appointment with partners, and you can obviously reward us paying the invoices that we give you. And you can go onto your own portal. If you're a payroll client, you also have a payroll portal. So our website is really a hub for us to service our client. So we want you to be very familiar with that, just in case one day, if you're still not our client yet, and you just remember our website, communitycpa.com, come over here and we will talk and we will take care of you. Let's get going with our webinars today. Succession plan for small business. And I talked a little bit about our firm, but a couple more highlight. We're here for 27 years plus, and we speak collectively out of our 40 professionals. We speak more than 10 different languages. And of course, our clientele is around 12,000 as of now. And we have 4 branches currently, and we already opened Houston branch, so 5 branches right now as we speak. Houston branch is already operating since the beginning of August, and we haven't really done the grand opening, and we're still in the process of hiring. So if you know good accountant and the tax preparers and in that area, and recommend them to us, and we are hiring actively for the Houston branch. I myself served on National Taxpayer Advocacy Panel, and this is the Federal Advisory Committee to IRS for 3 years. That kind of give you a little bit background on myself. I am a author. I wrote these 2 books already. They're on internet. So I need to write 2 more, which is 2 p.m. and 6 p.m. And today's content is largely coming from the book that I am writing related to 6 p.m. 6 p.m. So far, I will title that to be Appointment with Ying at 6 p.m., which is retiring from your business. Obviously, if you want to retire, and you also need to do a succession plan, right? So that is coming from that part of the book. And for all of our webinars, and we ask folks to take responsibility because this is a free webinar. We don't form client relationship at this point. But once you come around, say, hey, Community CPA, we want you to be our service provider. That is when we form this service bond. Then we are responsible for the services that we provide to you. But for internet free knowledge, you want to digest it well and take it with grain and salt and really knows why you use that knowledge for. Make sure you do it right. So that's why we have this no responsibility disclaimer right here for your convenience. So you know that it is a reminder that I need to be responsible for what I am learning here. So succession plan. The definition of succession plan from the Webster is succession plan is a strategic process to ensure that the business continue to operate smoothly after key leaders or owners leaving the organization. We all know that. The process involves identifying new leaders who may be able to come in, and the process involves the legal, tax, operating component of, drafting it up and finalize the document. Just like many other transitions, it can be complex and include a lot of components and ongoing effort to update it. Succession plan is somewhat different than buy and sell. You come to the point, you say, oh, I want to sell my business. What you really do is you just draft that document, you buy, you sell. You know who's going to buy, you're going to sell. Succession plan kind of have this timelines on it, right? It's like you don't know when that's going to happen, but you want to have a plan right now. That's why it's called a plan. It's not a documentation like agreement, right? It is a plan to speak about the future. So in today's world, I have seen a succession plan that was drafted back in 1930s. It's an old manufacturer in the state. When the grandparents owns it, and so they have this succession plan that was drafted in the 30s. But when they are transitioned the factory, it actually didn't go to, it's a grandfather, so it didn't go to it's a grandfather, it didn't go to the next generation. It skipped a generation to the following one. So we look at this succession plan and come to realize that plan has been tied with their living trust, so has been periodically updated. It was quite interesting to see how people think about 30s versus what happens right now in the 90s and the 80s. So this is where the succession plan would come in, predict the future, but you can definitely do that if you get all the components together. So changing business landscape is a big deal. In the olden days, you can have the 30s business transition plan that still mirror relevancy in the 80s and 90s. But nowadays, with the internet, with the business ways, how people conduct business are changing. So this business transition plan really need to somewhat addressing that. You just can't really say anything relevant from the 30s to today because CPA firm is not the same. It used to be a pen and a paper and a pile of paper in the office. That is the professional office, professional image. But nowadays, what? Clean desk? You know, you even talking to the professional people on video, you don't go to their office anymore. So there's so much changes in this. That's what we call the changing in business landscape. It makes sense to have a succession plan in today's dynamic business world, like high turnover of the employees, industrial changes, technology changes, and the business service over time changes. So all of these, to have a plan allows the business to go forward and upwards instead of having issue not knowing where to go. Do we have situations, where business owner passed away and nobody knows what to do with that business? I even get calls from clients and from someone, not our client, but will say that, I need to come to your office because my tax preparer passed away. I don't really know where my files anymore. And they said that it's going to take 6 months to figure out what his belonging is. So but tax is due. I need to get the taxes done. You see what I'm saying? These are what we call the succession plan failed, or there is never one. So having one to address the forward, upward issue, it is the best way to really keep your business going. And the small business owners, I'll tell you, every business is coming from small. If you are already small and you don't keep it going, you end that at your time, then obviously your business will never be big. It takes generation to become bigger. And of course, there are some businesses are becoming big really fast. Like nowadays, you look at Tesla. They become huge business very fast, right? So yeah, that happens. That is one scenario. But majority of the small business owners, your business, it is the one that takes time. So don't let that die with you or handicapped with you. You want a plan so someone who take that over or someone who buys it from you have that continuing momentum for the business they're taking over. All right, so common reasons for delay on succession planning, so understandable. It's just the business owner probably just got really occupied with building the business. They don't have time. And the succession need seems to be far away. They're strong, they're young. What are you talking about, right? And also, someone would look at that, that is something we don't have to worry right now. That's inefficient to think of the future. Let's just deal with right now. And the plan may be so outdated and it's also not flexible enough, right? Those are the one people would say that, all of these reasons will make me feel like I don't want to have a succession plan. Whatever you write on the piece of paper is already outdated. That is very true. Depends on how you write it, right? You can write it in the way that it will offer the flexibility and help the business to continue to grow. And frequently, these succession plans need to update. And you can't leave the plan there, not touching it once you're done. So that is something that preventing people to do because they felt, don't have time. Frequent update, come on. I don't even file my taxes every year because it's too much trouble. How could I do succession plan? If you are that kind of individual, you're just far away from planning because taxes need to plan. Fourth quarter of the year is always our planning tax season. There are plenty of individuals, people businesses are needing to do tax planning. That just means there are population out here and knows planning is important. So they plan their taxes, they plan their exit, they plan their succession, they plan their future estate and the gift taxes. So there's a bunch of people who are doing that. Of course, there's also people like you maybe don't do that. If you are one of those, I would say you hear me talking about plan enough that I hope you start your baby step and just really put together a thought of how to do your business succession. Examples of a succession. This is the one I was talking to you. Sweet Trees Bakery is owned by Jane Johnson in Coralville, Iowa. And this was established in 1995. And she wants to retire and pass the business to her daughter, Emily, who has been working in the businesses 10 years already. So here are the key elements on the succession. So successor, did Jane know who is going to take over the business? Yes, she does. Emily, right? So successor is the one that you need to identify. Sometimes you may at the point where you say, I don't really know who can take over the business. I often hear small business to talk about that. That's okay. You don't know at the moment we are asking you. But if I just plant the seed in your mind, saying to you that you need to know, then hopefully when you work your business day in, day out, you think about it. You may be spotting a new hire, thinking this new person, even though so new, but it has good work habit and good ethic value, and you want to develop this person to be the successor of your business. Nothing wrong with that. You just need to know that's an element of consideration. In succession, you have to have it. You have to have an idea of who could be your successor. Then timeline of succession, that is something you don't even need to outspoke. And if it is just in your mind, you know that, well, I can work like this for 5 more years. That's your timeline. But of course, anything could happen in between. That we will talk about later. But right now, we just want you, the one who wants to transition the business, to have a timeline. Maybe it's 20 years. Maybe it is 15 years. But as soon as you have a number, you already have a timeline. So you need to look at the timeline goes, how many years I gonna do what? So in your mind, you need to plan it that way. Formalizing standard operating procedures. SOP, so important. Operating procedures is almost like cooking menu. The cooking recipe. Grandma cooks really good casseroles, and then grandma has this recipe, and then you follow the recipe, you can do the same thing. That is the same in business. You need to have that SOPs on every step of the way. If you got a relatively complex business, then you're going to have many of those SOP. You want to formalizing that SOP, and that is part of the succession as well. Valuating businesses. You can make this item and very straightforward. You can also engage professionals to have them do valuation so you know how much the business worth, right? In succession, you have to know the value when you transition. That is not just because you want the money, it's also for tax purposes. So with that said, you need to know how you do this value. You may know a business valuation person, that's your brother-in-law, so you are, in your mind, you know that the business valuation will be done by him. But you need to know the valuating of business is something that you need to have in mind. Then, funding of succession plan. When someone goes out, someone comes in, the one outgoing, Jane, would want money for selling that business. Where is the money come from? That is the funding succession plan. There's many ways to fund it. I actually have a webinar about buy and sell business. In there, I listed all the ways how you can fund a transition plan, buy and sell. So in this example, what Jane did is she set up a trust fund to put away a portion of the profit each year to build up cash reserve for eventual ownership transfer. So let's say year one, she made $5,000 profit. Then she put away $2,500 and to save that in the company. And for one day, and that lump sum will be paid to her for her to go away, for her to retire from that business. All right. And training and development, of course, while you have this succession plan in mind, you need to grow your people, right? You need to know who is going to be successor. You also need to know that who's going to be this group of people support this successor. And you need to train and develop. Emily undergoes additional training in business management, finance, and Jane mentors her over this leadership and decision-making skills. So those are the things part of the transition. That doesn't come overnight, folks. When you are thinking of the transition, that training should already start. Legal and finance consideration. Jane updates her business legal document to reflect the change of ownership to Emily. So she already got that ready. And when that happens, all Emily needs to do is to pull it out and is already right there. Communication plan to customer. So when transition happen, and what are you going to do with the customer, right? These are things Jane and Emily had already done. They know exactly what to do when that happened. This is mom and daughter relationship, right? So they're doing that. And benefit of succession plan, needless to say, it is continuity of operation and stability for employee and retention for employees so they don't jump ship, right? Also, preservation of business value, because if you are having a business that is already running for 20 years and you are new owner coming and continue to run, you have value preserved. The value like a goodwill of the business preserved. But if you just build a new business, you know you have to build these goodwills, right? And a financial security, that also when you have a succession plan, you will know how to fund that transition. So you have the financial security, you know that you can do it. Legal and regulatory compliance is also important because when you transition a business, say if it is a restaurant transition, that liquor license is tied with the owner. And you have to make a note on that. When you transition this to your son and your daughter, they need to put their name, their record with the liquor commission to make sure that they can get license for that. What if they're drunk drivers? Then they can't, right? So those are the things you would consider when you work through the succession planning. But what if things change? Of course things change. There's no way Jen knows when she retires. And she said that 15 years. But, what if the daughter, Emily, got pregnant and don't want to do this anymore? And what if the new bakery come next door kind of watering down their customer bases? And what if another COVID happened and this store just cannot happen, just cannot open anymore? All of these what if will make things change. So that really hinged upon the flexibility of your succession plan and training you have for your upcoming leaders. So when you have what if, what we want to say to you is you need to develop universal talent. Universal talent. So for Jane, is she only going to work with Emily, or she's going to look beside Emily, see who else is there, always helping out, working there for a long term. So she would look into that person to develop. We call that universal talent development. Universal talent development means that is not situated on a person, but is situated on the environment to see who might come up. If this doesn't work, the other one works. There is a benefit because you can identify future leaders faster and you can provide trainings earlier. You can enhance your company's capabilities by boosting staff's morale and engagement, right? So you make these people our future readiness. So they're ready if Emily happened to not take over and Emily just goes, I'm too busy, Mom don't want your business anymore, you can sell to someone else. You can make succession plan with Sarah. She always worked there. Emily worked there for 10 years, Sarah worked there for 5 years. So it's a good candidate for that, right? So your business must identify these universal talents that is just out there and who they are, how they do, and you want to make a team of it. And we have a law firm, and the lawyer retires, and of course the son of the lawyer took over the firm. But what I was so impressed is the son has a team already built from his father's time, because his father used to tell him that, oh, this lawyer is about the same age as you when I'm not here, and you can trust him, and two of you should really be able to work together. So the father already looked into different talent to develop to enhance that leadership. So those are things we have seen people doing it. I'm not here just give you textbook saying that's what says in the textbook. No, these are exactly things our clients are already doing. We just want to tell you what other people do. That is exactly how I write that books, right? I wrote those books because I have examples from our clients doing this. So we knew, and based on their success, we know those are good things to do. And I always felt like, in the first 25 years of my practice, of course I work with people who are older than me. So I always told myself that whatever they do, I'm going to learn right now because I will come to that time and I will need to understand it. So when I saw a succession plan, and I thought these people who made the succession plan, they must have a lot of time on their hand. How could any business people has time to even think about it? But time and time, it proved to me that people with succession plan transition the business to the people they want to transition. Those business grow really well. And you want to start developing leadership skills across the board. And if you have 40 employees, like Community CPA does, you want to develop that talent to everyone is there. Because in your succession plan, and these people are the candidate, can come in to help you continue that practice and continue the way you want them to continue. So with this one, and we also said that another way to deal with the what-if situation is what we call the modular succession plans. Modular succession plan is like a Lego plan, right? So you have this big business, but in your mind, you want to carve that up into Lego pieces so you can transition one modular at a time. And I have seen that so many times, even for CPA firms. We have, I worked with a couple of CPA firms for their transition, and I noticed that people are doing modular transition. The way they're doing it is that they take their audit practice, they sell to audit firms. Then they take their tax practice, they sell it to tax firms. Lawyers, same thing. The legal firms, same thing. And even manufacturer. We have a manufacturer sold to 3 buyers. And one of the buyer is handling the manufacturing piece of that factory. Then the other one bought distribution side of it. Then the third one bought the resources, raw material resource side of the farm. So that is what we call the modular succession plan. You don't have to transition everything in whole totality. And you can literally break that down, transition this one to A, transition that one to B, and write your plan that way. And one of the best practice we discovered in our practice experience is to tie your succession plan with your living trust. We all know what is living trust. If you go to our YouTube channel, you type in living trust, and you will bring out all the webinars that we talked about what is living trust, how that would benefit you, what's the difference between living trust and the will, and what's all included inside of a living trust. But business succession plan can be included in the living trust. Why is that beneficial? One of the key reasons for the business succession plan to be in living trust is that annual updates. Living trusts need to be updated annually, even though you don't need to file taxes, right? Living trust, you don't file taxes. But when you do tax planning and with your CPAs, and the living trust is one of your entity, then you will naturally bring it up, because if you add a property, living trust need to reflect. If you add a baby, living trust need to reflect. So if you have a business succession plan, and that would be part of your living trust, and then you can update that every year when you work with your CPAs. And at our firm, we actually have this session on the fourth quarter when we do planning. Whoever has a living trust, we have a planning session. So at that time, we update every element inside of a living trust. The key area in the living trust related to the succession plan are the following: how to keep the business running normal, and when and how to prepare business for sale. You may be saying that, well, if in the succession plan, you could say that, if I am totally handicapped, cannot do work anymore, and if who doesn't want to take over the business at the time, then the business is ready for sale. Or say that 3 years later is ready for sale. So those are the things you would come into the living trust, and under the succession plan that you will update. You decide on the business structure, whether the succession plan to make the business C Corp, S Corp, or make a business a partnership, however you want to do, the structure is being named out. And identify the training need. Once it's transitioned, it is important to list out what must be trained, what need to be done. So in that transition plan, inside of the living trust, you can identify the training need, and you can make sure the compensation adjustment to employees, to the key employees, are coming in. You can dictate that just because you are the one making that call. You can update government documents such as operating agreement and bylaws, and you will update the buy and sell, because even if you transition to your daughter, there is still a buy and sell agreement, right? So you can address the tax implications for estate and gift tax, and giving your instructions in the living trust and related to business succession plan. Find the right keeper for your living trust and your business succession plan is very important. It is not in your bedroom, in your safe, no. And you can have it, but you must have a service provider out there knows about it. I give people the example of Michael Jackson. When Michael Jackson passed away, his mom didn't know he has a living trust. And he certainly didn't have a business succession plan, but his mom didn't know he has a living trust. So Michael Jackson's estate was reported to the state, to California state. So everything is wide open, right? Going through probate. Halfway through probate, they found the living trust. What I'm trying to say to you is, when you have a living trust, you don't have to tell your kids, your relatives, what kind of arrangement you have in there, but you have one that need to be a statement to your heirs. They need to know you have one. And then they will contact the lawyer you talk to. They will contact the CPA firm you are doing your taxes with. They will say, hey, do you have the living trust copies? And is there anything we need to know? And my mom passed away. So that's how things will surface and it will come out. So you need a keeper outside of your home and yourself to keep the living trust and the business succession plan. And find the right keeper for your document. I always say that because it's so personal, because it is so long term, and you must find someone to trust, some company to trust. It will stay there for a longer time. I would not recommend you to go to one person tax preparation firm and it's thinking that that's a long term. Maybe if they're practicing well, and if not, within 3 years they're gone, right? You found out that already. Some of the tax preparer, they're not there very long. And not to say tax preparer, I would say some of the professional firms are just not on the market long enough that for you to even blink your eyes. So you want to make sure that you find someone that's well established, like community CPA. And how do we operate to keep clients' living trust and the succession plan relevant to, at community CPA? First of all, the client who have the living trust with us or business succession plan with us are the clients we knew them well for years and years. So they come in, they establish that relationship with us. We knew them because we do things for them every year. Those clients who also do their annual taxes with us, so before we finish their taxes, we have already updated what need to be updated on the annual basis. We also update our knowledge to make sure that if there's anything need to change, we change it for you. And we also have unlimited electronic file storage and with Thomson Reuters. So to name Thomson Reuters, because it is a U.S. company and it's a significant company, reliable company, and we don't store our files on some third-party vendor and giving discount on the spaces, and we don't know where they are located. I like to see all of my data in United States of America. That is our operating principle. And unlimited file storage just allow us to store generation after generation document for that one client. We have it all. We even had a legal case from some client and wanting to pull out 1099 information from 2001. Imagine that. We are 2024. They want 2001. Guess what? We have it. So we pull it out. Okay? We have been here for 27 years by now. So our third generation of clients are already with us. So we are with the history here and also a bright future because we have a strong succession plan put in place to make sure none of our clients will experience any disconnect of our service, and we set ourselves to go on forever. So that is what kind of firm you're looking for. You don't have to come to Community CP, but go to a firm can say the same thing to you, can tell you that they have a strong succession plan and they are moving forward and with everything in place and the leadership in place, files in place, knowledge updated regularly. Important, right? Conclusion. The Sweet Treat Bakery finally transitioned after Jane suffered injury from a car accident. So this was earlier than what Jane was imagining. It's only 3 years after she did the transition plan, but when she did a succession plan, she actually was planning for 15 years. So 3 years. At the time of the accident, these are the items, and I'll run that through because we want succession plan to have these items, right? So successor, she has a successor, Emily, and she stepped in right away. Timeline of succession. So this one had a what if happened. So timeline pushed forward, but it didn't take very long to get Emily in place. So the succession timeline, it was flexible enough that to meet what if situation. Formalized standard operating procedure. You guess what? Emily has a booklet, which are the recipes that Jane developed over the years. And those sweet treats recipes are the operating procedures Emily would follow. Then she'll create the same good dessert like her mom did. And the value in the business, this part Jane made it very simple. She decided not to go for professional like those business evaluators out there. So what she did is she used her tax return, and 50% of the sales is the value she decided for her business. So you may hear ask me that, oh Ying, is that true? We can just decide on how much of a business value that is without hiring professional, without getting someone with a license to do that? First of all, there is no such a thing about a license for business valuation. Business valuation is a qualification of an individual with related experience and the license. For example, CPA are good candidate to be a business valuation person, and the lawyers a good qualification to be a business valuation. And then people can also take some business valuation classes, be certified as knowledgeable to do the business valuation. But the business owner is at the most convenient place to decide what is the value. For example, for the professional firms like law firms, CPA firms, the value of the business is pretty much related to the total sales of the year. So nowadays, if you go to buy a law firm, you have a license and you want to buy a law firm to practice, and if the law firm was generating $3 million sales, when you buy, you probably would end up paying $3 million, 3.2, or 98.98. And so you are right there, right? But what Jane did is that she said, okay, I just believe that 50% is my value. So made it so easy for Emily, right? So she knows exactly what business sold for sales for the last 12 months. So she take that number divided by 2. She knows that she needs to pay her mom of this amount to transition the business. Funding the succession plan. Remember we talked about this? You got to have money, right? So remember Jane put away her profit in the trust fund. So that money now is used to pay Jane back. Okay, Jane, you have your money. So what happened with Emily is she will start paying the business back for the amount she borrowed because she owns it, but she didn't pay, right? So the company actually bought Jane's share sitting there. So Emily will slowly pay it. So the ownership will slowly goes to her. Right? So she assumed the 100% ownership, but she owes the company. The company has a receivable from Emily. But that's the funding part of the succession plan. Now, training development, that is already done. Remember, Emily already taking the leadership training and things like that. So that comes handy. Emily didn't have any problem to take that over. The staff are still following her. She's doing great. And the legal and the financial considerations, this is related to the documents. The ownership changes, Jane already got that done. Emily just print that out and sign it, notarize it, and there is not even a need to run to a law firm to do anything because it's already done. Communicating with clients. So Jane and Emily send out an email to all the customers to let them know that the accident and new transition. So they actually send out the cookies, and on there with Jane's name and retirement, words like retirement on it, to really treat them in this, they did this open house for new ownership community event. So everybody coming in, but they understand it's a retirement from Jane and it's Emily taking it over. So implementing a succession plan offers significant advantage even in this ever-changing business environment, right? You can see so loud and clear from Jane and Emily's case. Succession plan offers this stability and a continuity for the business, and I would strongly recommend our followers on YouTube and our clients to take that in as one of the to-dos for year 2024. And this will help you to organize your thought about your business. When you do this, when you formalize this standard operating procedures, when you do that, and you actually enhance your business while you are doing that, many benefits. So our last two slides, desire to know more? You can go to our website and click on appointment. You will see me right there. And you can book my time. I'll come online and we can talk. And what is your plan? And with questions, I always show you Catherine at communitycpa.com is the place, is the person to go to. She will take your recommendation and turn that into a webinar. And so I'll be here and give that to you as an answer piece. So I would like to see you giving more of those clues to us so we can address things that is in your heart without you spoken that out loud. We just read your mind, right? We like to be the one be able to read your mind. And our YouTube channel, and that's the yellow piece on the screen, subscribe to our channel so you will see the notifications come around. And whenever we have some topic coming up, you get notification. If you have time, you come on. If you don't, you find them inside of the channel, and we will put a copy on there for you. All right, last but not the least, we open 6 days a week. So if you call us on Saturday, there's always a real person there to help you. And if you have a special need and just couldn't get away from Monday to Friday because we know how busy you are, and you can contact us on Saturday. With that said, I'll see you again on Tuesday. Bye-bye.